Aquarius, this is your October 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, you might find this reading resonates for you. Thanks for taking the time to tune in and join me on my channel. It's Romy here. We are going to open up this month with the energy of the Two of Pentacles. And, you know, this is an intense, perhaps the most intense, astrologically speaking, month of the year. We're into eclipse season. We're also experiencing the veil at its thinnest as we celebrate Samhain, Halloween this month. And I think the churn in energy and, you know, trying to find that sense of balance and equilibrium is perfectly presented by this Two of Pentacles opening up. The only way out is through this month. And actually, the best way for you to approach things is to be as maverick as possible. In some ways, if we knew all of the ways in which we would be challenged for the paths that we're taking and the decisions that we make, we might shy away from them. But then at the same time, we wouldn't also receive all the beautiful ways that those experiences change us. And so that's why there's always going to be an aspect of the unknown as we move forward. And with all of these energies swirling around you this month, there's a sense of almost your compass being turned in a different direction, perhaps in a way that you hadn't considered or contemplated before. And that can perhaps feel a little bit uncomfortable, but at the same time, you know, it can feel exciting and exhilarating and adventurous. Now, we have no frame of reference for some of the things that are set to come through for you through the course of October. And so again, you might find that, you know, you're struggling to find your sea legs a little bit, and that the intensity of some of the conversations that are playing out energetically, and indeed through your relationships, because we have this huge emphasis in Libra season around those connections in our world. And of course, we'll celebrate the new moon solar eclipse in Libra coming in mid-month. And so, you know, there's opportunities for true revolutionary changes in our relationships. And this month is rooted for you, Aquarius, in an opportunity to respond differently. And if you can be consistent to this one truth, then it's going to impact more in a positive way, in a progressive way, in the connections in your world, and at a truly sort of transformational level. Now, Mercury is going to shift into Libra on the 4th of the month, Knight of Swords coming through here, challenging you, but at the same time delivering important messages. And again, you know, because we're now out of the shadow of Venus and Mercury, a lot of what was held up or held back or was misunderstood, misconstrued, you know, there's an awful lot of clarity, and sometimes that can rush in like all at once, is almost like the floodgates just opened. What that does is it brings about much more clarity about where you stand. You know, you get a true read and measure of everybody's position at this point. And the more informed you are, the more clear, the more obvious it is what that next step needs to be. You know, it's just going to help you with some of the decision making and the choices. But there is this sense, you know, even as I'm sort of tuning into the combined energy of these two cards that have shown up straight away for you, of it just feeling a little bit chaotic through the month of October. But here's the thing I really want you to keep in mind, like all of this intense energy, all of this flux, all of this chaos and discord gives you the opportunity to have like more energy to leverage and to harness. And when you can kind of get out ahead of it a little bit, then what you're able to do is direct it, to transmute, to alchemize it. You know, you really become like the magician energy through the course of October. And what that also does is it gives you the opportunity to really start to test the waters with lots of different things, you know, with your ideas in work and business, with trying a different approach, you know, in a relationship. And yes, there is some stress that comes along with that. And that's okay, because as I said, you don't have a frame of reference. There's nothing that you can draw upon to say, oh, well, I kind of know how this might turn out. There's a sort of blind side to the month of October that's kind of forcing you down a certain path because the energy is so pulling and directed, that, you know, you're meant to not fight it. You're meant to move with it, but at the same time allow that maverick uniqueness that makes you kind of really shine forth. Now, Venus is going to finally come out of Leo and move into Virgo on the 8th of the month. And, you know, our love language changes to acts of service. And again, that step change, while, you know, it can be welcome because, you know, we've had this very prolonged cycle in Leo along with the retrograde, that sort of shift in dynamic, you know, could also present some challenges as you have to find like a new way to communicate with somebody. On the same day, we also have Pluto and Mars in quite an aggressive, charged standoff. And, you know, it's kind of like a showdown type of energy. And again, that may be where some of the stress might be sort of activated for you as you realize the news and information, the things that have come to light, you know, what it's going to take for you to now sort of move on or move up and kind of really clear up any mess or any kind of discord that has existed up to this point. So tempers might rise a little bit. Emotions will certainly feel heightened. It doesn't have to come across as hostile. It can be incredibly progressive, again, offering that opportunity for a true, you know, face-to-face, heart-to-heart. We need to deal with this. We need to talk about this. And so there's something around, you know, that kind of an experience landing on the 8th, just ahead of Pluto going direct in Capricorn. And remember, you know, in its retrograde, Pluto was teaching us how to enable some of that, you know, transformation to be truly integrated. And we're in this sort of final cycle of, you know, Pluto and Capricorn, and you're preparing profoundly for it to move into your sign, and that really heralds a completely different way of being, a way of doing in the world. And it's what you've learned and how you want to change as a result of that. So again, October's giving you that sort of heads up to say, okay, here, you know, are some of your final opportunities to really address this and to deal with this. And the Hierophant comes through here to kind of steady you, to kind of almost give that sense of calmness so that you can have these really important conversations. And this is very much about how you move some of these relationships forward in your life, professionally, platonically, you know, with yourself, of course, and romantically. So wherever it is that it's hitting, you know, you also have a key here. A key's being given to you because you're going to be unlocking something, unlocking the truth. Yes, I think so. Unlocking a new degree of learning. Now, you're going to be really tempted through the course of October, Aquarius, to be doing or acting in ways that you think might get you the praise, the recognition, the love, the respect. Perhaps you see it working for others. Perhaps it's just what you've always known. But maybe you're being asked to do something different this month. Yeah, and trusting that can be difficult. But this is a new paradigm, and this is what it's asking of you. There's almost a rejection of, you know, the perpetuation of the same old, because you're going to be searching for meaning. You know, the Hierophant's telling me you're searching for meaning. You want to commit to something, but you haven't been able to kind of completely hone in on what that is. And what we understand in the search for meaning is we're never going to find it in meaningless places. That won't work. Because it's a lived experience, right? It's not coming to us in a bite-sized meme or in a latest trend. It's coming, you know, from our bravery and our boldness to move out into the world and to put ourselves in different types of situations with different types of people and, you know, test the water and experiment and, you know, respond differently. And this is how we start to shift and change our consciousness. And the Knight of Wands is really advocating for this, to be fearless, but also to be ready that if you are looking for this meaning and this commitment, you have to look in new places this month and not get pulled into doing things that you think is going to get you what you want, because it might temporarily, it could be like that sugar rush or that quick fix. But in the long term, it's not been nurtured and cultivated and built from a foundation of lived experience within you. And that means it's going to feel very different. It means that there'll be an emptiness or a hollowness or a lack of fulfillment to it. Or I thought this was going to be the thing and it actually isn't, because it wasn't meant to come to you in that specific way. So it's a really powerful message you're working with. And as Mars moves into Scorpio on the 11th, there's an intensity there, but there's also a narrowing of your focus and your passion. And your drive becomes almost like single-minded in the pursuit of something. And again, I think, you're gonna make compromises where you need to, but they will have to be communicated and articulated to you in such a way that you really see the value of doing that. Because there's definitely a energy and an attitude and approach from you this month that says, I'm doing me and I have to do this in my way. So then we make our way towards this new moon solar eclipse. We'll see this beautiful ring of fire at Libra, 21 degrees. And, remember, we're now working with this. We began in spring 2023. We'll go right through to spring 2025. 10 of Cups we have here. The demands within the relationships that we have, but also the desires that are sparked within us, are all up for review, up for debate, illuminated here. We have to stop accepting. We have to stop the codependency. We have to stop the patterns. This is why this month is so important for you in terms of allowing it to be rooted in this idea of responding differently. You know what matters to you. You know what you're working towards. You know the things that bring you deep joy. And now we're building our capacity for that by recognizing and releasing what no longer works or serves for us. So there's a big old wake-up call, but it's not anything I think that's particularly new for you. And it also sort of underpins this need to, well, right now I have to kind of be in this balancing act. I have to sort of juggle many things just now because I actually really understand the direction that I want to take. But remember what I said, yeah? This eclipse turns your compass in this completely different direction. And, then there's a moment, have I made a mistake? No, mistakes are just opportunities for correction. And perhaps there's something even more, even better that's different, that again helps you to act and, show up in ways that are more about who you are, not about what someone else is. And so, we come into Scorpio season and, there's this emphasis for you around making shifts and adjustments that can bring about more harmony and balance in your world. And I think that there's a sense of almost you wanting a smaller circle of people in one or all areas. People where you feel safe and seen and celebrated and respected. And I think you're completely at peace with just kind of letting go or certainly limiting the interaction or the communication of anyone that just consistently delivers you the same type of an energetic experience that ultimately does not feel good to you. Now we're going to make our way as the lunar eclipse comes through on the 28th in Taurus, and here's another showdown experience, 5 degrees. You've been playing with this storyline since November 2021, and this is the final sort of chapter. So you're challenged to find closure. You're challenged to resolve something. You're challenged to know what the lesson or lessons, that you were meant to kind of learn from this cycle are. And, we have some hard aspects with this eclipse. Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter bringing in a dramatic twist, bringing in a sense of exaggeration, which can be a little challenging as, things get amplified in a way that, isn't necessarily the truth, or certainly they're taken and somebody runs with it and all of a sudden it becomes this much, much bigger issue. So there's definitely some drama comes in around that. However, we do have a little bit more of a harmonious influence, more level-headed energy from Saturn that will help you to kind of turn things around. So even if your experience leading up to on that eclipse, is a little more tricky, and you feel like you're having to justify or kind of defend, or there's something going on here that seems to just get exaggerated beyond belief, there is definitely a turn of events. And of course, that's just ahead of Samhain Halloween on the 31st. And Venus trines Uranus on this day. So very unexpected energy coming in. The deliverance of something perhaps connected to finance, to money, or certainly in a, relation to your love relationships. And again, I think probably going to be connected to what emerges around that lunar eclipse. And, we experienced some intensity, didn't we, back in May when we were, finalizing that Scorpio eclipse as well. So there's just a lot that's sort of perpetuated. And this is kind of like a final flare up, if you feel, my drift with that. But at the same time, come at it with the focus of, okay, there might be some wild card energy around this. It feels kind of electric. It also, again, is offering you the opportunity for energy that you can harness and leverage. Yeah, that's the way to look at this. So if you're new to the channel, Aquarius, the last 3 cards we cover in my extended reading. I talk for another 30 minutes or so, just going deeper into this main reading. But we also look at a personal question and a relationship card for you. So you can find the link for that in the comment and description box underneath if you're resonating with the soul story. I'm just going to clarify this main reading here, see the direction that we might be exploring. We've got 3 of Wands and the Devil, 7 of Cups. All the decks that I use are also listed in the comment and description box underneath. Okay, so please be sure to see that. And if you are interested this month's soul journeys, my guided meditations, we've got an eclipse activation to support you with both the Libra new moon eclipse and the lunar eclipse in Taurus. And we also have a journey to connect and strengthen your connection to your spirit guides. Beautiful as the veil is so thin for this month. And just a reminder for your energetic hygiene, protecting, grounding, clearing, releasing, cutting cords, so important, especially if you're choosing to, perform more rituals or tune in because the energy is so powerful and intense. It's something just to be very mindful of through October. So if the only way out is through, just be prepared, that the roadblocks, the intensity, the whirlwind, the big events and news, the wild card, the big hellos and goodbyes, all of which we've come to expect in eclipse energies. We have months that ask questions and we have months that deliver answers. And October is certainly one that is delivering answers. And a few more than you bargained for, I think, Aquarius. But all of this helping to inform you, helping to give you that opportunity to just come to a different realization about yourself, your pathway, and the responses that you want to kind of give to things. This is Life Soul Vision Oracle. Again, if you're new to the channel, this is my own personal deck, so please take the time to check it out over on my website. You'll see that along with my other sacred title, Moon Musings, series of soul activations for your rituals and all of your soul tending. So you have Maverick of the Light, Dancer of the Shadow, Detours from the Divine, Solstice, Celestial Stillness coming in here. We have Mirrors of the Mind. These are very eclipse-like energies. Heart energy, gratitude and growth, right at the center of your reading. Beautiful. And Spirit Crane, Dance with the Divine. Okay, just going to go ahead and pull from a couple more oracle decks for messages that we will look at in your extended reading, Aquarius. What do we have? The Wild Rose Fairy, Love. I mean, there will be huge shifts and changes and transformations in your relationships this month. Much of it will come down to really where your intentions lie. The work that you've done and the responses that you give, how you process the information that's given to you, and just your acceptance in really the path and the journey that you're on with the individual that you're connected to. You have first chakra, Archangel Michael, beautiful protective energy coming in there. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you will come on to the extended so we can continue this for another 30 minutes or so. Have a beautiful month of October. Enjoy. And I will see you again next time, Aquarius. Bye for now.